Hello and welcome to Anime Rewind. My name is John Trent. I'm the editor-in-chief at Bounding Into Comics, and I'm joined by my co-host Spencer Bakuli. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, John. How about yourself?
Doing well.
Good to hear.
Yeah, it's nice and hot out here in Virginia. How's it going where you are?
I have not been outside today yet, so I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. So we are going to continue talking about Mobile Fighter G Gundam. We're on episode 8. It is titled An Old Grudge, Revenge of the Space Police. And this episode takes us to, so brief overview, this episode takes us to Neo Canada. We're still following the story of Domon as he participates in the Gundam fight, and he is seeking out his brother, who is the pilot of the Devil Gundam, in order to bring it to heel, so the government of Neo Japan is not exposed for funding and creating this Devil Gundam that apparently is super powerful and a threat to the space colony order that is structured through the Gundam fight. And Domon's brother, whose name escapes me right now because he's only been in one episode so far, basically wants to end this world order and bring an end to like the Gundam fight. And we found out that the Gundam fight isn't really the greatest thing. We found out in the pilot episode where people are basically the Earth is used as a battleground, and the Gundam pilots, or it's intimated that the Gundam pilots don't give a crap about the people on Earth and what's happening on Earth. And most people on Earth, or a lot of people on Earth, abandoned the planet. It was about 60 years ago, 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And then went up into space to build the space colonies. And now the space colonies kind of subjugate the planet, it seems like, through the Gundam fight. In this episode, we go to Canada. We meet Gundam pilot Andrew Graham, who has a very kind of tragic backstory that we learn. He is the member of the Space Police who is seeking revenge. His wife has been killed in a pirate attack about 5 years ago, and then he discovers the leader of that pirate attack is a Gundam pilot, and then he becomes the Gundam pilot of Canada in order to get revenge, even though that is against the Gundam fight rules. He doesn't care. He wants to kill this guy no matter what. And then obviously Domon kind of finds himself in the middle of this revenge, as Andrew Graham has actually sought him out because he finds out that he's come to Canada, and Domon wants to fight him, but Andrew Graham has other ideas and is like, just give me the information on this on this Gundam. Yeah. So that's kind of a brief little overview of what happens in this episode. Obviously, it's there's a lot more to it. If you haven't watched it already, you should. I do think this is one of the better episodes. I know Spencer's probably going to give me a hard time on this.
No.
But I did like this episode a lot. I think this is probably top 3 for me. Right behind, maybe top 4. Definitely behind the pilot, behind the Devil Gundam episode, which I still think is the top right now. The Devil Gundam one,
the best one so far.
And the pilot's number 2, and then this is the 3 or 4 because I really did like the George Hassan one.
Yeah,
I kind of right there with.
I think this goes right below the George Assad one.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet. They're neck and neck still for me. Let's just. I want to kind of. Usually we say this till the end. I kind of want to do this in the beginning. What was your favorite part about this episode?
So my favorite part about this episode was probably the whole space raid type of thing that led to Argo and the
opening scene.
Yeah, pretty much the opening scene and all the expansion of it. I thought it was really visually different. It shows us a different side of it. It's like world building. It shows us that there's more going on than just Gundams. And I really loved the pirate ship design, a very classic like 80s spaceship, anime spaceship.
There's like a pirate anime that I watched on Netflix.
Yamato?
No, it was like started with an H.
Oh, Captain Harkness? No, that's.
I don't know what it was.
That's from Doctor Who.
No, yeah, he started with an H.
Harlock.
Harlock, yeah, it reminded me of Harlock's ship. Yes, that's it.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, no, that was a really cool design.
Yeah, really, really cool design, and I really just loved. It was pretty tense and dramatic, that entire scene of the ship crashing and tearing a hole open, and then Argo coming down to kill or abduct his wife. It was all. I just thought it was a really cool break from normal Gundam stuff.
Yeah, so the whole I was actually glad you pointed this out right away. I mean, it starts off this episode starts off very different from the other ones. It starts off throwing us right into the action, whereas the past episodes have always given us this guy who kind of is recapping events and then kind of leading us into what's going to happen. The boxing commentator, I like to refer to him as. This one is like we don't get that. We do still get. He still shows up, but he doesn't show up and
does anything.
Yeah, he has a very more minimized role, but we're thrown right into this action sequence where this. I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is different. We're like out in space, and it looks like they're at Jupiter, and they're like monitoring the system or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like, alert, 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 and you're like, oh crap! And then boom, it's like too late. Like their
it
alert
also
system
looked like they were about to, get it on.
Oh yeah, it sounds like they've been getting it on quite a bit there. It seems like they're the only two stationed there, and they were talking about like starting a family when they get back to Earth, because they were actually talking about going back to Earth, or no, but going back to the colony, not Earth. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had that, and then the boxing guy is like, "How will this affect this? This event will affect this event that took place 5 years ago will affect today's Gundam battle. What will it? How will it be?" And like, there's this like sense of mystery that you want to like figure out how it will affect it, and then you quickly find out how it does, or not quickly. I guess it's like 3/4 of the way through we find out. But similar to the George Dasan one, after we got the action sequence there, we got a Gundam action sequence like right away. I was like, whoa! Usually they wait till the end for our Gundam sequences, besides the George Dasan one where it was in the beginning, and then we got the big fight at the end. Well, this one we got a nice little fight in the beginning as well. So like right after that, we get a Gundam fight with Domon and Andrew Graham, and the entrance of Andrew Graham. I actually thought that was really cool. Not my favorite part, but it was really cool. He was like Paul Bunyan, and he looked like he was so huge. He looked like he was he looked like he was giant. But then you see them then they would show other shots with Domon and Andrew like standing next to each other, and they're like he's maybe a head taller,
but, like a head or something.
Yeah, but when they first showed him, dude, he was like
just the angle they were showing him from, and
well, it was crazy because he was walking up a staircase and was still like towering over Domon. It's like, holy crap! Like this guy is like huge.
He's giant.
And it's actually revealed that he was actually this like space guy. So he was like I don't know what they got going on in Neo Canada on the space colony, or just him chopping wood.
Yeah, I mean that's like, what he does for half the episode. Yeah. When he's not in his Gundam, he's at his cabin chopping wood.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was like really cool how he was like this guy is intimidating. It set the stage right there. And then I liked how there was a lot so we had this mystery of how what was going on with Andrew Graham, and he was so focused on I kind of was like trying not to say it, but we're going to say it here. Focus on the Bulk Gundam from Russia. They tell you about it in the teaser from last episode. The preview. Yeah. So he's so focused on the Bulk Gundam, and it's revealed that the Bulk Gundam, the pilot, what's his name, Argo Kulski, was actually this pirate captain who is now who had like ran into the space station. So, and he thinks that he killed his wife. So he's seeking revenge for his wife, and he's totally focused. And that's why he wants Domon to give him information on the Bulk Gundam. He doesn't even want to fight Domon.
He just knows that Domon's the last person who saw Argo.
Yeah, and was able to fight him to at least a draw, and he has like information on how to beat him. So that's what he wants. And he even says that after he defeats the Bulk Gundam, he will like give his Gundam's head to Domon, and Domon's like, nah man, I'm fighting you right now. He jumps head first into it. This is a character flaw of Domon. He still hasn't learned from it yet. We've been talking about this quite often. He jumps head first. He gets his butt handed to him.
He's very like single-minded. Like even at the beginning when they're at the Niagara Falls, Rain's like, can't you just enjoy the sightseeing? And he's throwing his little anime protagonist fit of, no, I need to fight. Let's go fight now.
Yeah. And I thought he explained that pretty well though, because he's just like, you have an out, I don't. My family is basically at the
hostage,
they're being held hostage. Like his dad is like in like a cryo state. His brother is like an enemy of the state, and they seemingly have like recruited him, and they were like manipulating him. We saw it in that Devil Gundam episode. They're like trying to use some kind of like image projection to like control his behaviors, and we're still not sure how much of that has affected him. Like we know in the Devil Gundam episode, he's like, you won't control me, but then literally the next episode, he's still having like those flashbacks
to it when he's asleep. Yeah,
which we know as viewers is not real. So, there's so he has like he has a legit reason for throwing his little tantrum, and why he's so focused. The thing that I don't think they explain very well is why he's actually in Canada, why he's going after Andrew Graham. How does that affect his pursuit of his brother and the Devil Gundam? He doesn't ask any questions about the Devil Gundam. He doesn't ask any questions about his brother. It was very Mandalorian-esque to me, where he's supposed to have this mission, and he kind of just goes. They just were like, it's a Gundam fight. Like that's just what they do. And I was like, well, no, he's actually has a mission, and there should be a reason why he's in Canada, trying to ascertain, like just even like a brief, like maybe the announcer says it, maybe Rain says it. It's like we're here looking for a trace of the Devil Gundam. This was like a projected path or something like that where he might have landed.
I kind of read it as him just participating in the next Gundam fight for Japan, because that's going on right now. So I thought he was going to Canada just to find him and win the fight so that he could, move towards his goal of freeing his dad and his brother.
Right. Yeah. Even I guess we could. That's the assumption.
Anything though. Yeah.
Right. So just a tiny little bit there could have helped explain that. John Willis is saying it sounds very much like the story of the movie recently on Netflix, The Wandering Earth. I haven't seen that, so I can't.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I haven't seen it yet though.
All right. So I know we've been, one of the things, our big things we've been critiquing is the actual Gundam fights. Like that's actually probably what our biggest critique is, the actual Gundam fights. I actually thought this one was like, I know the first one was still kind of short, and I would even argue that the last one was short too. But I thought they made sense. They worked for me. I bought into them. I didn't think that they were just too short for shortness sake. I did have an issue that they said that he had a new move, and it was literally the same move that he does every time. He just used a different application of it.
Exactly. I also laughed too, because right after he said I have a new move, he just did those little gut punches that did nothing. Yeah. And then he got bear hugged again.
Well, then he did like shining finger, and then he just like electrocutes him. But it was still shining finger. I think he called it ultimate shining finger.
He called it something, yeah. But it was still shining fingers.
Yeah. So that was I mean, yeah, it was like, okay, it's like, come on, give him something else besides shining finger. Like
give him a special sword move.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was going to be so like he gets defeated by Graham in the beginning, right? He does the bear hug, tosses him away, and then Domon like decides to seek out the Russians because he knows that's who Graham is looking for, and he still wants to fight Graham first. He seeks out the Russians, picks a fight with Gulski. Gulski does like the same move that Graham did in the Gundam to him in person. But Domon, like, it seems like he uses like a kick move or something, some kind of like power kick to like break out of it. And I was like, oh, like he's like, I've created a new move, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be the power kick like that he just did, or something like that.
Or the power. I thought it might have been the power kick from the very first episode where he did the wave, like the energy wave. Do that in the Gundam.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, that's what I was thinking. He was going to do a Gundam power kick or something. And then it was like, no, shining finger. And I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, I mean,
At this point, we should probably just count the episodes where he doesn't use it. There will probably be 2.
Yeah. I liked the emotional impact of this story, and I think this kind of like there was a like so this is why I like a very compared to the George Dassan episode that we saw already. You have this like emotional story, the character growth, and there is significant character growth.
Yeah.
It's not with Domon. Domon doesn't really have any. It's not with Rain. Well, there is a little bit with Domon.
There's a little with Domon and Rain.
Yeah, with Domon and Rain at the end there, we kind of knew it was there, but they made it explicit that was there. But the main character growth was with Andrew Graham. He's this man who is just he's a slave to revenge, I would argue.
Yeah,
that's all he is focused on. He spent the past 5 years just seeking revenge against Gulski. The Gundam fight is the opportunity to get that. He pursues it. He's going to break Gundam fight rules. Rain like tells him you can't kill people. Apparently, you can't kill people in the Gundam fight. Apparently, we haven't seen anyone die, so I guess that's true. But
although that confuses me though, because wasn't in Mexico they technically think that Chico's dead, don't they?
Yeah. So yeah.
That fight, so who knows how that rule technically works.
Well, that's also something we have had the Gundam fight rules. Yeah. What are they and how are they applied? They kind of give themselves an out in this, so it seems like they realized that was an issue. So the writers did, so they well, it's not official, so it doesn't matter, right? Like if it's not an official Gundam fight, it does there are no rules, so it doesn't matter.
All gloves are off.
Yeah, so you have to accept the fight in order for it to be official or whatever. So who knows what makes it official though? They whether it is you have to accept it or what. So that's still a problem there. But yeah, so back to the revenge. He's so focused on this guy's revenge, and he refuses to fight Domon. He doesn't give a crap about the Gundam fight, which that's shown because he refuses to fight Domon. And then he says I'll give you my Gundam's head. So I don't care. I just want to fight. I just want to kill this guy. And then he's faced with this truth, this hard truth, and it comes because there's we get this 3-way Gundam fight at the end. Andrew Domon is he's knocked down into this ravine. His Gundam is kind of crashed. He's out of it. Well, I think he actually pushes Graham off the edge.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Gulski, is it Gulski? I think shows up. He falls off or something happens. And then Graham is holding onto the ledge, but it's so this I had an issue with this too. So Domon is literally his Gundam is fine. He's fine. It crashed in the ravine. But Graham is holding on, oh no, if I fall, it's over. But Domon is literally at the bottom of the ravine, fine.
All right.
Yeah, and he's worried about Rain. So we get that really good moment with Domon where he's he basically says what Graham had told him before, I'll give you my head, spare Rain. So it shows that he's not singularly focused he might seem that way at Niagara, that he's that similarly focused in the beginning scene you were talking about, but he's not. He cares a lot about her deeply, and is willing to basically drop out of the Gundam fight for her, even though it would mean his entire mission would be canceled or at least ended. But then Graham is saved by Gulski. Well, saved. He pulls him up, and then we get. There's obviously an assumption that he's told that what really happened with his wife. We get a narration from the Russian leader, the woman, and who they did. There was a really cool scene where they did with her at the beginning when Domon reaches to her or goes to her with the sun on her sunglasses. That was really cool.
That was really cool. That was a really cool shot.
And so, but sorry, side there. But he he's faced with this hard truth, and it ends ambiguously, where it's is he still still a slave to this revenge? I think it's implied with the like the narration ends ambiguously, but the animation implies that he isn't anymore because
Looking forward. Yeah.
he's looking forward. He's chopping his wood, and he's not focused on Gulski anymore.
These are the kind of endings, though, that I really like in this series, in that while things might wrap up for Domon and Rain, for the characters they meet, oftentimes their lives are still kind of crappy. Like, he's still haunted by revenge, kind of like he doesn't know if he can accept that it was an accident. Chico, his sister is still dying, and they basically are fugitives from the law. So and Italy, in the very beginning, is still kind of a crap hole when Domon leaves. So I kind of really like that. The world still feels like it's being destroyed and crappy, and not happy, and nothing else is affecting them.
Yeah, I mean that's very Gundam, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's just that's a Gundam trait. That's a theme of Gundam. That's what you expect from Gundam. What else do I have here?
Not enough orphans right now. We need to meet some orphans.
Yeah. I liked how we get their names are Norma and Andy. So like he calls himself Andrew when referring to Domon, but in the flashback scene, he's Andy.
He's Andy.
Which and Norma, and I like that. Different as a Gundam pilot, he's much more serious and official. As Andrew Graham, as with his wife, he's Andy.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch.
Yeah. This was something I don't think you will ever see. You will not see something like this in modern storytelling in current day, outside of Japan. So Rain gives this like impassioned speech to Graham to like, you can't kill him. It's against the rules. Like basically like she's trying to save him from committing murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And she gives this impassioned speech, and he's just like, shut up, and like punches her in the gut and just like knocks her out. And it's just like, no, like I'm not listening to you. And you don't really see that anymore. Especially, you will never see that probably towards a female character. You might see it the other way around, where a female character might do it to a male character, but you won't really see that. And it was I thought that was in his character and it showed how much of a slave to revenge that he was.
Mm-hmm.
And it really highlighted it. He was willing to just physically destroy her. She doubled over and was just like done. She was like
knocked out.
Yeah, it knocked her out in a gut punch. So I thought that was really, really interesting. That was that you didn't
can't see that nowadays.
Yeah. Also, this is something that I think we've been touching on this before, but we get that so Graham's story actually mimics what we saw with Rain and Domon here. So, especially when he like she's about to fall, or she's in the Gundam about to get destroyed. Domon is there, can't save her. She's out of reach. But instead of where Norma fell and Gulski wasn't able to save her, Gulski is able to save Rain and kind of Andrew Graham at this one where his Gundam doesn't fall off the cliff. So there's a little bit of difference there, but I liked that how there was that kind of foreshadowing that they had throughout, where it was like Andrew Graham's story was mirroring what was happening between Domon and Rain at the same time. And we've seen that a little bit in previous episodes. With this one, it was very like
we saw it a little bit in the Desaad episode with the Princess and George.
Yeah. All right. So I asked you what your favorite part was. I didn't really say what mine was. So I think it's the end, where Andrew Graham just comes to this realization that what he believed to be true wasn't the case. There was a different story to tell, and he was provided with new evidence, and it looked like he was taking that new evidence in stride and examining it. And like we said, he was still kind of struggling with it. He wasn't he was
He just quit.
yeah, he was still struggling with it, but he was still he wasn't acting on that revenge that he had before. He kind of had he was in a more an examination phase. He was looking at the evidence with new eyes almost, and I like that.
Yeah.
The culmination of that like emotional story that we got in the beginning with the ship coming in and wrecking the space station, and then having it come full circle. I thought that was really well done and well written.
And it also kind of reinforces the governments don't really care about all the people on the colonies because they drove it was the police or the military that drove Argo to go straight into their ship, and nobody cared except for Argo.
So the space police, who Andy and Norma were actually working for, and were on this like space station, the Russian lady says that the space police literally were they had a posse of ships, and they had rounded up Argo's ship and forced him into the space station where he didn't have anywhere else to go. And again, like that harkens back to what we're talking about with Gundam. It's very you have those scenes like they don't care about the people on Earth. In Italy, that was very apparent, and even in America, I would say the governments didn't care about what was going on. It was our boy Chibity who was kind of trying to look out for his folks that he grew up around. Lopter, Demon King of Inferno, has joined the chat. No problem, Lopter. We're glad to have you here. We're just talking about G Gundam Episode 8. All right, so that was kind of my favorite part. What did you think was the worst part of this episode?
Worst part of this episode. I mean, it's a pretty solid episode. Maybe just the fact, as always, that it ended so undramatically. Like that first Gundam fight, I was really excited because Domon was using his sword. He was doing this cool like skating on water move. Andrew threw the Shining Gundam into Niagara Falls. So I was hoping for something like that. And, you know, you talk about the special move Domon was going to learn. I thought it was going to be some sort of like wrestling reversal where Graham would grab him and then Domon's like rope, like the Gundam legs would switch or something and he would flip him over. But again, just a shining finger.
Yeah. I think that was kind of what I was most disappointed too. I was like, oh, we're getting a new move, and it was like it's the same move. I mean, which yeah. So I think that was probably what I was most disappointed with as well. Anything else you wanted to highlight about this episode?
Highlight about this episode? I mean, I would just recommend everybody watch it. It's a really good episode. I really liked how Argo came back. I'm glad we're starting to see these fighters come back because that means, you know, we saw Chibity last episode. We saw Argo now. We'll probably see Sai-Chi and George pretty soon. And yeah, I mean, I just love the Gundam designs every time. I love how stereotypical they are. And
yeah, what did you think of this one? I was a little disappointed in this one. It looks very generic.
It looks pretty generic. The spiked shoulders don't really mean anything, but yeah. I did like that the hat was sort of like a beanie, kind of like the one he was wearing. So
yeah,
that was neat. I also, maybe you can tell me what it was. What the hell was the symbol on his chest? Did you see that? Like the cannon symbol?
Yeah, it was like a C. It looked like a flame. It looked like the Calgary Flames.
I was gonna say the Calgary Flames. I was gonna say that exact same thing.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it was super weird, but Canada, I guess.
If Script Doctor is here in the chat, he'll probably correct me, but I think Calgary's in the west. And they were fighting at like Niagara, which is on the east. So I don't know. It was like a C, and it looked like Calgary. Maybe they saw the hockey team and were like,
it's possible. The team's been around for a while.
So yeah, and it was like his suit was like brown, so I was a little, I don't know, his overall design was probably like the least imaginative of all the designs we've seen so far.
I feel like they used all of that creative like stereotype energy on Andrew himself rather than his Gundam.
Yeah, I guess with the lumberjack persona.
Right. Like he's super big in the beginning. He's got this big beard, the beanie, bigger eyes because he's not from Asia. And I think they blew it all there. Not that it's bad, but just a little disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know. When I think of Canada, I don't really think of like lumberjacks. Like to me, he reminded me of Paul Bunyan, and Paul Bunyan is like an American folk hero. So maybe that's just me. When I think of Canada, I'm thinking of. I mean, I guess hockey players are big too, but that's what I think of.
When I think of Canada, I just think like flannel and warmth. So
yeah, flannel.
That's what got to me.
Yeah. But yeah, the spikes. I don't know what the spikes were supposed to be. Maybe like a saw. Something like that, maybe. I liked his axes.
Yeah, the axes were
the he had. Part about it. I was hoping he would do something where they would like combine together or something, and like
a giant axe,
like a huge like lumberjack axe. He's a big dude. He should have like a big, huge axe. And I was just waiting. Yeah, and I was waiting for. I was thinking that like a giant blue ox would show up or something like that. Just cool. Just go in with like you know how like Chibity has like the skateboard.
Yeah,
like he rides in on like in on like a blue ox or something. Like that would have been awesome. But yeah, I think this was so we've seen 8. This was right in the middle. I would say either 3 or 4 for me. Best 3rd or 4th best episode for me. The next episode looks like it might be. Again, another top one. Yeah, John Wilson is saying, or an American John Henry. Yeah, John Henry is another. Great. So the next episode is titled, what is it called? I don't think I wrote it down.
Powerful Enemy, Chapman's Heroic Challenge.
Yes, Powerful Enemy, Chapman's Heroic Challenge. And this is actually, looks like we're going to get into some more of that world building, because in the preview, they tell us this Chapman guy is a 3-time reigning Gundam fight champion. So I'm looking for some great Bruce Buffer moments in the beginning where it's like, and in this corner, you've got the 3-time reigning Gundam fight champion. And in this corner, the challenger, Domon Kashu from Neo Japan. Like, I'm getting myself typed up for it.
I'm hyped now too. I want it to be next week already.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. I definitely recommend watching this episode. If you haven't already, just check this one out. These episodes are really great because they are kind of standalone. You don't really need a lot of. They're episodic. You don't have to like really know a lot. There obviously is an overarching story, but they are still very episodic. And I think you can watch this one without having watched any before it.
I feel like pretty much all of them so far, you could do that.
Yeah, the only one maybe, pretty much all of them so far, because even the Devil Gundam one, which actually is like the one that pushes the story, is
completely unrelated to everything.
Yeah, it's still a standalone because all the other ones are him just like having Gundam fights with each people, which is great, which is still cool. All right, guys, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. We will see you next week for Anime Rewind Mobile Fighter G Gundam review. We will be doing our Trek Tuesdays on Tuesday. We do those starting around 3 p.m. Eastern.
Super fun. I'm not on that show, but I'm always in the comments, and Trek Tuesdays are great.
Yeah, so that show is we talk Trek news, the latest Trek news, and then we're also have a Deep Space Nine discussion. We'll be reviewing, episode 4. It's technically episode 4, but if you're watching on Netflix, it's episode 3. Because the first 2 episodes they combine as Emissary into one. So no, wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 4. Yeah. It's the 4th episode. No, I think it's the 5th actually, because we've done. No, have we only done 2?
I feel like Horton and Dawn are the ones who always...
We did Emissary, Man Apart, and Past Prologue, so we're on whatever the next one is, which I don't have in front of me. So that's the next one, whatever is after Past Prologue. So that should be fun. And then we also do our Bounding Live, which is on Wednesdays, where we kind of talk about the headlines of the week. Those are always fun. We had a great show last week where we talked this week actually, it was just a couple of days ago. We talked Star Wars, Batwoman, and I think it was Batwoman, right?
It was Batwoman. That's what we opened with.
And I think we talked a little bit some Marvel and DC stuff too at the end. So we got a lot going on. We're going to be doing some more stuff. Spencer and I, we're waiting for, I don't even know when it releases, but Spencer and I will be reviewing Gibiate on Crunchyroll. It's an original series, I believe. So I think it's coming out later this summer, and we'll be reviewing that most likely day of or the next day. We'll figure out when that is. So look forward to that as well. So thank you all, and hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good Friday.
And we will see you next week.
Take it easy.